Hey tubes, Jonathan's wrong here, truth and budget. My phone is all sorts of geeking out. Has been. But anyway, neither here nor there. Just had a thought. More of a realization. Let me see if I can word it, because sometimes I have a hard time wording my thoughts into, English language. But anyway, the outcome of technology appears to be tiny life. When things get more technologically advanced. That's a difficult word. The world gets smaller, not in the way that you could access things easier, but in the way that you can't go places. Think about how big the world was, hundreds, thousands of years ago. You had all this empty space, all this stuff to do. If you wanted to go somewhere, you'd go there. You know, you had options. Yes, there was wilderness, and yes, you might die, you might starve to death, you might, the elements might take you, rival tribes or clans might take you, whatever. But you had that option, you had that choice. I think a good parallel is the food industry, because we went from, chickens and cows and stuff just walking around doing whatever, to living in cages, to being caged and fed in a box, and that's what they're doing with us. I mean, it's no coincidence that they call us cattle. They want us to live like that. They want us to live in a box, shoved in a small space on top of each other, and that's what technology brings. We used to have space. We used to have options. We used to be able to, look out and see, the earth and God's glory and everything else. Now we don't. We look outside and we see buildings. We see people cramped together who don't give a shit about each other, but are forced to live like in close proximity. And that's not. We used to have the option if you didn't like your neighbor, you could avoid them. Nowadays, everyone's living in in apartment buildings or in all these tight spaces, and it's just tiny life. And we're sold that as technology gets better, life gets easier, and this and that. It's like how has life been made easier? If it's like you're telling me that like just living a simple life where you're a farmer or a herdsman or whatever, you go out into the woods and forage, whatever jobs people used to have, you're saying that was more complicated than having to do all these checks and balances and having to have all these rules and do all this bullshit so you can get something that is basically a voucher for something else, but in itself is completely worthless. I'm talking about our fiat currency. Fiat means that it's decided that it's worth something. People come together and they have a council and they're like, okay, this is worth something. That's what fiat means. It means it is not intrinsically valuable, like gold or silver or food. Animals are intrinsically valuable. Money is not. All these advancements in technology has just made life worse for us and smaller. You can't, if you want to travel now, it's you gotta take time off of work. You gotta put all this money into the mode of travel. Then you gotta put all this money into having some place to stay. You need to set it up, do all this nonsense. Like, how is this less complicated? People are healthier. No one's healthy. Everyone's on medication. Everyone's mentally ill. Everyone's taking pills for something. How are people healthier? We've been sold this lie that technology is the better way of life. But ask a cow, ask a chicken how life has improved for them since the advent of technology. And that's what they want for us. They want us living in boxes on top of each other, eating food out of a tube, and that's where it's going to end up. That's where it's headed. If you're paying attention to all these smart city stuff, now they want to, no more meat. You're going to eat bugs and weird paste stuff and, lab grown meat. Yeah, let's have, instead of having, instead of building like a farm, farm complexes where they can grow food in like internal, hydroponics or whatever. No, let's just grow a bunch of bugs and feed people bugs, Let's put all this time, effort, and energy into a lab grown meat when we could just have a factory produce edamame or kale or something. Nah, no, we're gonna put all this money into you eating bugs and lab grown meat. Do you, like I know my small audience is knows exactly what the heck I'm talking about, but when you think about it, that's the end game. Tiny life. They want you not going anywhere, because why would you need to go anywhere? Now we have VR headsets. You can go anywhere you want in virtual reality. You can see anyone you want. You can go anywhere and do anything from your box. Not an improvement. But anyway, just a thought I had, because I absolutely, I like right off, I hate touchscreens. I can't stand them. I hate not having a feedback loop, it's part of being a, I guess I'm an Xer now. I don't know what group I'm being pushed into, but anyway, like I just, none of this technology is great. Do I enjoy hanging out and playing video games? Yeah, but that's because that's the best option I got. There's plenty of other things that'd be nice to do. It's a little late now. I'm a 40 and single, but there's plenty of nicer things to do than like watching some dumb movie from the comfort of your home. I don't know, but anyway, it's too late. This is what we get. But the late game realization is that the what they wanted us to do is just have tiny life, live in a tiny little box with a tiny little screen where you can't go anywhere. We're gonna have electric cars, which can't go more than 40 miles. They're like, oh, you can get derp derp derp. What they don't tell you, you gotta look into this yourself. If you go over if you drain the battery by a certain amount, the charge time increases exponentially. So you're gonna go on a road trip where you gotta park and let your car charge for 24 hours every every other state, not even. Like, it'd be like literally, okay, we entered a new state. We got to go charge our car for 24 hours. So let's get a hotel for 2 days. It would take you like a month and a half to do a road trip across the United States. Be a joke. But that's where it's headed, because none of this stuff is better for the environment. The electric cars run on the grid. What does the grid run on? Coal and nuclear, which is just boiling water. You can't find a better way to boil water. It's a joke. It's an absolute joke. Everything's a joke. The whole natural gas. Have you ever flown over a natural gas field? The plane's all over the place. You know why? Because there's methane flying up in the air, which is 8 times more powerful greenhouse gas. But your car is doing damage to the environment. They have fields where they just smash, they just go deep in the ground, break stuff, release the gas. It's like literally like your friend is across the room and he farts and you're trying to catch it in a bag. You might catch a little stink in that bag, but hey, guess what? 80+% of it went elsewhere. And that's how fracking works. How's that better for the environment? It isn't. None of it is. They have free energy. It's obvious. They know how to do this stuff. It's easy. You do it effing magnets and stuff. You make a dynamo and it never stops moving. It's not difficult. They make engines that run on water. But hey, guess what? That guy ends up dead. Anytime you create an engine that runs on water, you die. Like 3 guys have done it. And they all just die. They get killed, and then you never hear about this car that runs on water. Because they don't want things to be easier. They don't want the earth to be healthy. They want you full of plastic and toxins, living in a tiny box, eating something that you don't even know what it is. Where you have no idea what the real world is and what reality is and what you are. You don't even know what you are. That's the future for us. And technology is assisting all this, because the further you get away from nature, the easier it is to lie to people about what nature really is. If you have no actual footing in reality, you will just take whatever reality is given to you by the powers that be, that you trust, that you grew up trusting, because that's all you know, because you don't have your own logic base. That's why they're doing all this stuff in schools. People are like, oh, what's with this Common Core nonsense? What's with this? What's with that? Yeah, exactly. Is anyone benefiting from it? It does. If a child needs to take 32 steps to figure out that 4 times 4 is 16, they're doing it wrong. They don't want that child to be equipped. They don't want people to be strong and capable. Another example is the Planet Fitness. You're not allowed to work out at Planet Fitness. You're allowed to sit there on your cell phone and eat free pizza, but if you try to get a workout in, or if you have a little bit of muscle mass, they'll throw you out. That's a fact. If you go into a Planet Fitness and you're a fit dude, they'll approach you and be like, you're not really the type of people that we want here. This is a judgment-free zone, but we've judged you to be too healthy to be here because you're going to make all the fat idiots feel uncomfortable. Because they don't want inspiration. They don't want you to be inspired. They don't want you to feel like, hey, I need to better myself. I should get in shape. I should learn. I should eat healthier. I should do this. I should do that. No, they don't want you to do that. They want you to love yourself as you are. If you're a fat sack of crap and you don't know anything, and you're just hateful and hideous, they love you. They love that. That is their favorite person. If you're like that girl at that college who's like she's got the weird mullet thing, and she's like, and she looks like she's 40. She's like, ah! She does the scream, and she looks really satisfied with herself that she screamed, and she's like, I'm 17 years old now, blah 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 blah. And it's like, whoa, you're 17? Honey, you look like you're in your 40s. Like, what are you doing? You're doing it wrong. No, like, you sure do look happy, sweetie. You look so happy being a screaming fat maniac that, like, looks like they're 3 times older than they actually are. Does that girl benefit from that lifestyle? Is she going to be happy? She might never realize that she's miserable. At some point, yes, she might be like, oh man, I can't believe I was that much of an idiot. She might have that moment. But unfortunately, a lot of these people are so out of reality and living within their own sphere of just people that agree with them. It's like when you look at all these modern dating shows and everything else, there's this thing now, it's called like the button, where like the second someone does something that you don't like, boom, new date. Hey, guess what? People are going to do things that you don't like occasionally. And since you immediately cut someone off that did one thing wrong that you didn't like, you will never get to know that person. That person could have been perfect for you. That thing that pissed you off could have been you. That could have been on you. But you'll never know that, because the second anyone pisses you off, you'll cut them off, because you have all these other options. Like with the internet dating and everything else. All these options does not make life better. It makes you shallow. Having all these options makes people stupid. It makes people not look any deeper, because whatever, I'll find something else. Well, guess what? You're just going to keep looking, or you're just going to get people that lie to you. People that are honest with you are going to rub you the wrong way every now and again, because they're going to tell you something that you don't want to hear. That's life. We're not perfect. Sometimes we need correction. Sometimes we need someone from the outside to be like, hey, what are you doing? And then you be like, well, I'm doing this. Maybe I shouldn't be doing this. Thank you. We need, every now and again, you need someone to be, outside your sphere to at least question you. So why you're doing what you're doing, rather than just doing it. Anyway, that's about it. I love you guys. Have a beautiful day, and God bless you.